here with Spud Goodman. Spud's been MIA for a number of years now, and we just got to ask, where you been, Spud?
Well, you know, I was in retirement. It's kind of a cliche term, but that's where I was. I decided to hang up the spatula, you know, many years ago. My gosh, almost like 10 years ago or longer. My producer, Lori Madsen, was on my butt, wanted me to come back and do a project or two, so she talked me into it, and now we're up and running, so no turning back now.
How have your friends been? Where's Joe? Where's Chick? Your parents? What have they been all up to, man?
Well, Accordion Joe is living in Spokane now. He's had some health issues, but he's doing okay. He calls in on our new radio show from time to time. My mom's doing well. She lives over in Port Orchard. My father, Sparky, has passed away. He passed away about 5 years ago. My sister's still up in Seattle. My uncle Steve, he lives over in Gig Harbor. He still has his, carries around his dummy Jerry, and that's we're concerned about him, but it continues. But that's about an update.
Very cool. We're in a basement right now, and you said yourself that this is primarily where you get your start. In fact, this is still where you do a lot of the stuff. Is it somewhat nostalgic, or do you have stories from that time that you'd like to share? Or?
Well, we did originally started February of '85 in Tacoma, Washington, in a basement of an apartment building. It's about 16th and Union or something like that. Anyway, we lasted about 3-4 months there, but the toilets flushing, the showers running, just caused innumerable delays in taping. So we decided to move to another basement. We ended up moving down to the Eagles abandoned building. The humongous, probably had 100,000 square feet, but we were in that basement for a couple years. And that's we did our show in Tacoma for about a total time of about 3 years before the channel Cable Puget Sound went off the air, and then we moved our operation up to Seattle.
So the Spud Goodman Show has always been a bit of an oddball on the air, but in your opinion, what was the most defining aspect of this show? What was it that truly set you apart from your contemporaries or people that would come before and after you?
Well, the show was originally conceived as kind of an antidote or a response to all the happy talk programs that were on in that era. Frankly, it was launched with we don't really care, as a like it or don't like it. We had no major money invested in the project, so there was no risk. So we just threw it out there. People liked it, fine. If they didn't, that was fine. It's not really the ideal, proper way you launch any entertainment project, but just for you kids out there, if you're listening, do not follow in my footsteps.
So you've been with the local Tacoma radio station, NWCZ, for how long now?
Just started, actually.
Just
did
started?
Our third show last night. I just have the best to say about the people at NWCZ. They're amazing people. They've pulled off this operation with no major financial support from the community, and they've made it a success. It's just pretty cool to have been asked to be involved. I'm very pleased to be working with them. They're kind of like late night FM radio was in the 70s, where everybody went home and they let the DJs at night do whatever the heck they wanted to do. No suits bothering them, so it's just an amazing environment there. I love it.
Mm-hmm. So, can you give us a bit of a story on how you got started with the radio station?
Well, the reason why I decided, like I had mentioned previously, to come out of retirement is that I wanted to get re-involved in the music community, because it's always been a major part of our program. I in essence built each episode around the musical guest. It's been the main part of the program to me, so I wanted to get involved in a project that had a connection to music in the Northwest music scene. So we decided to do a video podcast, which today was the moment that we released our second one. We uploaded it to iTunes. It features the Seattle band Seeing Blind. They have a new album out, Let's Paint Our Whole Room With It, produced by Jack Endino, legendary producer. So, and we're on to the next video podcast. We're gonna probably get that out in the middle of September. But the idea was to kind of, team it up with a companion project, and that's, why we decided to go with radio, and we were graciously invited by Daryl Fortune, the owner of NWCZ, to be involved with them, and hopefully it's going to come together. It's fun regardless, even if it doesn't. So.
Okay. Very cool. Since you are becoming more and more involved in the local music scene and music scene in general, what do you think of music from back when the show was at its peak to now? And what do you think we can expect from the future going on?
Well, since we do date way back, prior to the explosion of, the so-called Seattle scene, when it just went, it was something to see from as a spectator. We had bands that hadn't played a gig, being wined and dined and courted to sign record label deals. Before, maybe they had a couple times in a practice space. Those days are over. The financial model of the record business obviously has changed. So those days are never going to return, and it's probably for the best.
So you've been talking about the Seattle scene a lot, and following the grunge movement and all that huge just wave of hype that hit the early '90s and continued on. That really gave Seattle its own identity. How do you think it's affected the state of Washington following that huge explosion? Or I should say, the outlook, the way the rest of the world views Seattle as kind of a special musical spot.
Mm-hmm. Well, with music and pop culture per se, I mean, everything's cyclical. Prior to Seattle was Athens, Georgia, and I could go on and on and on, and there's always quote-unquote the hot spot. But, Seattle had some legs, I mean, to this day. I mean, it's a big part of tourism for the city of Seattle, and the city government supports to, maybe not to the level they should, but, there are resources put into the aspect of supporting and promoting, the Seattle music scene only because, it brings money into the city. Mm-hmm. To this day, I mean, around the world, the city of Seattle, first, and it's not going to be world championships from sports teams. It's going to be the music scene that I think that can most easily be, identified as the essence of the city.
So one of the most important aspects of your show was always your musical guests. Now that you're back and you're looking for more acts, who are you looking forward to? And as your show gets bigger, who would you like to see on, I guess?
Well, what I would prefer to do, and my plan at this point, is to continue to book up-and-coming bands. When I did my show on Fox, the national show that was syndicated, we did the national touring bands, but they don't really need a whole lot of help promoting their product. We're not, we were kind of irrelevant to them, but I do think that we can be a little bit of a help to bands that are working their way up. That's the hope. So that's what I'm going to be doing with the video podcasts, and even in the radio show we have a live musical guest in the studio every week. We're on Thursday nights 7 to 8, and that's it. That's what we're going to book is Northwest music.
And I hear you've been writing a lot recently. So what project are you really invested in right now? Like, what is the big thing you're working on?
Well, as far as writing goes, I am probably just going to focus on the blog. I'm not going to be doing any more plays or anything. Mostly that was for fun, or totally that was for fun. Obviously, we didn't make any major money on it. I think we did something at the Fringe Festival, and that was rolling up in Seattle with it, but with some of the stuff we've done. But nope, right now I'm going to be trying to focus my energies on the radio show and the podcast, and try to get them, up to speed and where they can draw, an audience, and therefore thus hopefully help the bands that we're trying to promote within the body of the show.
All right. You can find Spud Goodman at his website at spudgoodman.com, his YouTube channel, and his iTunes at the Sort of Spud Goodman Show. You can catch him on his radio show on NWCZ from 7 to 8 p.m. every Thursday. Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay. Do you want any cutaways to make the edits? Because that's the only way we're able to make it work. So
Works with me.
All right.